Have you ever opened a bag of chips and wondered if you accidentally bought the air flavor? Don't worry, you're not alone. Turns out, you didn't just buy chips. You unknowingly paid a premium for air. But why is this happening? And more importantly, how can you stop wasting your money on space instead of your lovely snacks? Shrinkflation. Welcome to Shrinkflation, where companies make you pay the same or maybe more for less quantity, and expect you're too distracted by the crinkly bag to notice. Companies call shrinkflation a modern solution to rising inflation. But let's be real, it's just a sneaky way to charge you more without you noticing. Instead of raising prices outright, they quietly shrink product sizes, hoping you won't catch on. Its hidden inflation is disguised as a cost-saving measure, and the numbers prove it. While inflation rising by only 21%, shrinkflation has driven corporate profits up by nearly 90%. Real-life example. In 2022, Frito-Lay reduced the amount of chips in a standard Doritos bag from 9.75 ounces to 9.25 ounces. That's 5 fewer chips per bag, while keeping the price the same. It may seem like something trivial, but it is more serious than it seems. According to analytics, this process could save the company over $50 million. What do you think caused them to go to such lengths to deceive their consumers? Why did they do it? The company said it had to adjust due to inflation, particularly rising costs of ingredients and transportation. But it only gains them severe public reactions when people started noticing, resulting in a rapid decrease in sales. In the end, the company announced an increase in both their products' quality and quantity to gain public trust again. People on social media mocked the company, saying, "They're saving us from ourselves by giving us fewer chips." Why consumers don't easily notice shrinkflation? Are packaging tricks deceptive or just smart marketing? Why can't consumers easily notice shrinkflation? The answer to these questions is trickier than it seems. Apparently, companies use psychology and packaging tricks to hide shrinkflation, knowing people notice price increases more than smaller product sizes. Imagine what will be the best solution. If you have inflation on the one hand and selling your product on the other hand, how would you deal with it? Instead of making the chocolate bar shorter or thinner, or increasing its price, which will only agitate the public, resulting them to move to a cheaper product. Why don't you increase the space between the chocolate peaks? The overall weight dropped, but visually, the bar will still look the same. As a businessman who wants to make as much profit as possible, people tend to ignore the fact that the purpose of their product is to serve their customers. But despite ignoring this fact, it still works, and it starts making profit more than you imagine. Why do you think it will work? That's because the longer length of the bar tricked consumers into thinking they were getting the same amount. A famous Harvard Business School study found that consumers are much more sensitive to price increases than to reductions in quantity. Coca-Cola Company, instead of increasing prices, quietly reduced its standard 2-liter bottles to 1.75 liters in some markets. Sales remained stable because customers didn't immediately notice the change. Shrinkflation was supposed to deal with increasing inflation. However, once a product undergoes shrinkflation, it never goes back to its real size or quantity. And when the period of inflation passed, companies continued making profit at a very large scale. Now, you know shrinkflation causes a difference in the quantity and prices of products. And think you beat these sneaky tactics by double-checking the quantity and prices and being careful, but these companies already have another trick up their sleeves? That is what we call skimpflation, where quality is compromised instead of price or size. Let's consider this example, including a chips packet. Skimpflation doesn't just mean fewer chips in the bag. It also affects the ingredients and quality of what you're eating. According to a recent survey, in 2022, Frito-Lay owner of Lay's, Doritos, and Cheetos was called out by consumers for making chips thinner and using less seasoning while keeping the same price. Skimpflation allows companies to cut costs without visibly shrinking the product, making it harder for consumers to detect the change until they take a bite and realize something is off. Government and public response. How long will we let companies get away with these actions? Giving us less for the same price, don't we need a law to call them out? Sure, we do. To restrict these deceptive tactics, U.S. lawmakers introduced the Shrinkflation Prevention Act of 2024. The act defines shrinkflation as the reduction in the amount or size of a consumer product without a corresponding decrease in price, which allows them to pursue civil action against the companies engaging in shrinkflation. Preventions. You must be thinking, how can I save myself from this sneaky scheme? What can I do on my end to save my wallet from taking the hit? To fight against these methods, you must stay vigilant by checking unit prices instead of total prices. Because unit prices represent the price per ounce, it is advisable to keep pictures of old products and compare them with new ones after some time because they slowly reduce the size, so you won't notice. Talk about these kinds of things on social media platforms and in their feedback and review sections. Be cautious of commercials saying new and improved packaging to prevent yourself from walking into their trap. Shrinkflation isn't going anywhere soon, but now you know how to fight back. Pay attention, speak up, and don't let companies trick you into paying more for less. If you've ever encountered shrinkflation in real life, share your experience in the comments below to help others stay aware of these sneaky tactics.